All right, guys, for today's warm-up, I had you guys do a discussion post on the different ways that the government knows what the opinion of the American public is, and I'm sure you guys provided a large variety of different things. So the topic of today's lesson is what the methodology is when we are trying to measure public opinion. With that, we have both non-scientific methods and scientific methods. We're going to talk through both. And you may have included some of these on your discussion post, right? So some of the ways that our government might know what people's opinions are direct information from political parties and interest groups, right? So political parties and interest groups are groups of actual citizens, right? And their members have specific views and ideas, and parties and interest groups do directly communicate with elected officials, or sometimes, right, our elected officials are part of these political parties. The important thing to note when we talk about political parties and interest groups is that sometimes these groups are representing a very, very vocal minority. So if the government is only listening to what an interest group or a political party is saying, then it is not getting the actual opinion of the entire American public, because those people that are active members of political parties or participants in interest groups are not representative of the whole, right? So yes, it does provide information, but the government should be cautious when they are getting their information from that and should not solely get it from that, right? Another thing that we have here is mass media. Typically, issues or topics that are important to American citizens are those that are being reported on in the media, whether we're talking about via social media or broadcast media on television and radio. We're talking about print media, those types of things. But the topics that journalists are discussing and individuals through social media sites can provide some insight into the opinion of the American public. All right, direct communication from constituents. So constituents or voters, citizens, have the right to directly contact their government officials, right? You can send an email. You can send a snail mail letter, right, with postage and all of that. You can respond or communicate or participate through social media outlets, all right? So elected officials do get direct feedback from the citizens themselves through these routes. However, again, keep in mind, the person who is taking an active role to reach out and contact their government official may not be representative of the entire American population, right? And that's why we have to be very cautious with using that information, all right? The next thing I have on here is a straw poll. A straw poll is a poll that is conducted by a media outlet, right? So typically a newspaper, a radio station, a website, and they're going to ask their audience to participate, right? Like, okay, hey, out there, everybody who's listening to me, we'd like you to call in and tell us how you feel about policy X. And then the callers call in and they share their opinion. All right. This can provide some information, but we have to keep in mind that the people who choose to listen to a particular radio station or read a particular newspaper or watch a particular television channel, right, or visit a particular website, those are, again, very specific people, and we cannot ensure that the people who are answering those polls are representative of the whole, because the only people that are hearing or have access to participating in the poll are the people who already support or listen to that particular media outlet, okay? So straw poll is a poll conducted by a media institution, not following scientific means. They just ask their audience to respond. Okay, the last thing that I have on here is political websites, social media, blogging, those types of things, right? Political candidates can get online and look at people's media presence and determine what is the current feel or political environment or atmosphere right now. I am not saying that there's anything wrong with looking at any of these sources. These sources are great. However, we just have to recognize when we use them that the information obtained from these sites is not obtained through a scientific method, and therefore it might not be a reliable representation of the entire American public. And really, when our government officials are making decisions, we would hope that they would do so based on a true representative understanding about what Americans want. So if these aren't giving us, right, necessarily a true representation of American public opinion. What can we do, or what is providing a true representation? So with that, right, we need to look at scientific polling and methodology. Also, real quickly, this is like my first slide, like transition here. Please do know, obviously, you have control of this video. So if you miss something, pause it, rewind it, go back, do what it is you need to do to get the information. Also, remember the slides are directly embedded within this unit in Schoology, so you can access the slides yourself outside of the video if you want to. Okay, so with that, back to our topic. All right, so in order to conduct a true scientific poll, certain procedures have to be followed. Right? It would be great if we could literally get the opinion of every American citizen, and then we would know 100% without a doubt, this is the public opinion. This is the view of the American society. However, it's very impractical and unrealistic to assume we're going to poll every single member of the United States population. So rather, what we do, right, is we conduct a poll using random sample. Okay? Random sampling as a method to polling is a method in which every single member of the population has an equal chance of being randomly picked. Okay? Right? Typically, what we use here is random digit dialing. A computer system will actually pull all of the entire phone numbers within the United States, and it will randomly dial them to reach out and contact people. Okay? Again, the goal of a random sample is to ensure that your sample size is representative. You want to make sure that the people who are answering the questions represent the whole, so that they have equal demographics, right? So if our population is 60% women and 35% men and 5% non-binary, when we conduct a poll, we want to make sure that our poll has about 60% women and 35% men, right? And 5% non-binary, to make sure that it is in fact representative, right? The best way to get that representative sample is typically through the use of random sampling. Not always 100% effective, but again, it is one of the best methods that we can use to ensure that. So with that, you are going to go ahead and you are going to watch the next video clip on this page within Schoology, and it is going to show you exactly how random sampling works using the analogy of soup. When you are finished watching this Research Pew video, you'll go ahead and you'll just watch the third video that is embedded within this section to finish up the notes.